Tell us the timeline of Jon accepted the fight, went to Thailand, came back, didn't want the fight. What happened?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Thailand was the end of it. You know, we were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
Look, regardless of whether or not Dana White knew about this whole alleged hit and run situation in New Mexico, it really becomes irrelevant because we don't know the truth about anything now, and Dana White is not being a very good promoter at this moment. And I say that knowing that he's legitimately one of the best promoters, if not the best promoter in the world, literally. But right now, this is not a good look for him or the UFC. Fans should feel scammed. The heavyweight division should feel scammed. And Tom Aspinall absolutely should feel scammed. Aspinall had to wait 19 months for Jon Jones. And who did he fight? Miocic. Okay, not exactly an unlegitimate fight, but where's he at in the top 10? Let's get past that. And then let's move forward to the obvious, the waiting of 19 months while Jon Jones was sitting around and deciding on what he wanted to do. And Dana White just let him play games. I don't know that we'll ever know the whole reality about this fight and why it never happened. Because people are talking about that thing in New Mexico, obviously, but that's from back in February, and it's a misdemeanor. Now, I understand, I'm not justifying hit and run accidents. What I'm simply stating is that the allegation is a misdemeanor that wouldn't have held Jon Jones out of the octagon, okay? So I'm just saying, now we got to get to a place where, okay, what would have been? What would have been the thing? Was it because he was aging? You know, he was talking about how he just didn't feel good after this last fight, and he was getting older, and he was telling Tom Aspinall to talk to people that were more his age, which sounds a lot like pick on somebody your own size, which is really bizarre coming from Jon Bones Jones, that he would call anybody a bully. That's just crazy. He got upset when he was asked about what it would take for him to fight Aspinall, which I get it. Okay, he feels like he's being called somebody who's now a ducker, a coward, whatever it is. That part of it is probably frustrating him. But simultaneously, answer the question. You're a fighter. People want to know the answer. They have a right to know the answer. And the fact that he didn't really answer it and said, if I get the itch again, you'll know, and then he retired, that tells me that the level of questioning that was put on him pressed him to the point where he finally made a choice. And when he made that choice, he was trying to save face, and it really backfired. There are a lot of people that are mad at Jon Jones right now, feeling like, bro, you could have, legitimized either who you are, which a lot of people are going to say is the GOAT anyways, or Tom Aspinall with a win. Because now he's going to be a paper champion. Another reason why Aspinall should feel like he got scammed. He's the undisputed heavyweight champion, but at what cost? He's been sitting around waiting for Jones to decide. He hasn't taken any. He's taken, one fight? Just, okay, Jones is going to come around at some point. He's missed out on how much money? The fans should feel scammed. They're never obviously going to be able to see that fight. They're going to never know whether or not Aspinall could have passed that test. They got ripped off. And now the way that the heavyweight division is going to be viewed, all the fighters are going to be looking around going, okay, now what about us? What about our money? What about our payday? And it's already being thrown around that he fights Alex Pereira, which he had said, Aspinall himself, hey, look, man, I've already got a fight date in mind. Now, the name Pereira is being thrown around because he posted on Instagram that he just put on 40 pounds, which is about what he would have needed to put on in order to fight heavyweight, probably between 20 and 40 pounds. and he put on a solid 40. He was up to what, 243 on the scale? Crazy. So obviously that name's being thrown around, but then again, that leads us back to the heavyweight division. What about those guys who have been waiting? And even then, who was Aspinall going to be able to fight to legitimize himself? Is it going to be Pereira, Kovalev? I mean, who's it going to be? Cyril? Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the fighter that people look at it, and if he beats them, they go, that's our proof right there. Everybody got scammed. The fans, Aspinall, the entire division, all got scammed. And I just don't know that you can justify this. I think if right after the Miocic fight, the way that a lot of people are saying, if you'd have said, look, I'm done, I'm good with this, people might have been okay with it, but I still think they would have been like, why didn't you fight Aspinall instead of Miocic? I think that would have been the thing. I still think we would be where we are right now. It's a damn shame, is really what it is. And now the heavyweight division just got set back, and they basically have to start all of the way over. That's legitimately what just happened. Speaking of starting all the way over, the Houston Rockets, they just traded for Kevin Durant. I'm sure everybody knows that. By the way, the Phoenix Suns, they get Dylan Brooks, they get Jalen Green, and coming up this Wednesday in the NBA draft, they get the 10th pick. So they just secured that. And they're basically doing what the Knicks did, right? And that was sacrifice defense for the offense. It's exactly what happened. The Knicks, they sacrificed the defense that Randall can give you for the points that Karl-Anthony Towns is going to bring in. Now the Houston Rockets are doing the same thing. And somebody's going to say, well, the Knicks did pretty good. They got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is better than what the Rockets did. Me personally, I would have rather have found a way to keep my defense, especially Dylan Brooks. And before anybody tries to at me with a Dylan Brooks comment, understand that the Rockets, their defense was ranked 4th in the NBA this year, and Dylan Brooks as a defender was ranked 3rd in the NBA this year, and he gives you an additional 14 points. So he's not just a solid defender, one of the best in the league. Don't at me. People want to go off of stats, which anybody who knows me knows I hate more than anybody, but here we are. You want me to bring up statistical proof? There it is. He gets you double digits, and he's the 3rd best ranked defender in all of the NBA on a team that was statistically ranked 4th best in the NBA. Did you sacrifice too much to get him? And look, I'm not going to sit around. I want to be clear here. I'm not going to sit around and make predictions on the Rockets season. I'm not going to say now they're really a playoff contender for sure because they were already in the playoffs this year. I'm not going to go off and say now they can at least get to the Western Conference Finals because we don't know. And I'll tell you why we don't know. Number one, because of the same reasons that I consistently bring up anytime anything like this goes down at all. Number one, is it going to work in the locker room? That's the big thing. If you don't get respect from the guys, you don't get along with the guys, it's not going to translate to anything on the floor, the field, wherever. The diamond, the hockey ring will not matter. You don't get along there, it's over. Number two, schematically, is it going to work with what the coach wants to do defensively and offensively? And number three, is it going to work with the coach, especially Kevin Durant, because he's another one of those ball players that has had some supposed beef, alleged beef, with a head coach. Remember, he got busted years ago when he was trying to justify leaving Oklahoma City. He said the Warriors play as a team. The only 2 guys that were on that squad, remember when he was doing the Twitter and he got busted out? So the only 2 guys were the Thunder were him and Russ, and that was it. So he had that happen with the players. He had the whole thing go down in Brooklyn. got Steve Nash fired. Then he ends up leaving in the middle of the season anyways when they get Jacques Vaughn. Then he goes to the Phoenix Suns. That hasn't netted anything of significance whatsoever. I think most people looked at that as not his team. So there's that. Now he goes to Houston and what? It's his team all over again? Maybe. But I just think that you sacrifice too much defense for what KD's going to give you on offense. And look, he's prolific. Don't get me wrong. He's not exactly the world's worst defender, but he's not exactly the world's best defender either. And when you do that, you sacrifice so much that I just don't think things like that work out for you. And I think Kevin Durant is a faded superstar at this point. Everybody knows who he is. People will watch to see KD play once in a while, but he's not that guy anymore. What happened at Brooklyn, I think, was the last of it. A lot of people thought that team was good enough to win the NBA Finals. He doesn't wear the right shoe size. And then the next season, just horrific. You know, part of it you could say, that eventually, everything happened with Kyrie the way that it did. It's just how the game goes. But I don't see where adding Kevin Durant to that team and losing that much defense benefits you. That's all I'm saying. And finally, speaking of Kevin Durant, somebody who knows what it's like to play and risk it all, I said that Haliburton was potentially going to end up like Kevin Durant in another program. I said that Haliburton might want to sit out the rest of the NBA playoffs, or the finals, I should say, because his career isn't worth it, and here we are. The minute he went down, he immediately started screaming, and I'm generally not a lip reader, but I was trying to read those lips, and he's just going, not now, not now, not now. And I get why he played. You may never get that chance again. But simultaneously, was it worth it to potentially end his entire career? Now that's the question that's got to be answered. We don't know how bad the Achilles injury is, but we know it's an Achilles injury. And we know that's going to be a long fight to get back. And the NBA season starts up pretty dang quick. We're already at the end of June, July, August, September, basically. October, you got a little bit of preseason. Boom, November. He ain't going to be back in 5 months. Might as well call it next season, most likely. I'm just saying it netted more bad than good. And Indiana did what they could. They hung around. They had a pretty good end of the first half. But you're watching this game, if you didn't turn it off, because I know a lot of people probably did. If you're watching this thing, you're watching it and you're going, it's over no matter what. And then the third quarter happens and Oklahoma City just decimates them. You want to talk about kicking somebody while they're down, but then again, it's sports. So you're ahead. You know there's no Haliburton. You're probably getting run through by the head coach verbally at halftime. He's probably asking you, why is this game close? Their main guy's not there. What are you afraid of right now? Nobody worry about Pascal. That's all they got left. And McConnell's not good enough to beat us. We're going to press them. We're going to play nasty defense. And we're going to get in their face. And we're going to be aggressive on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, at least that's what it looked like, he told him. It's a shame now because Oklahoma City, conversely, they can't even enjoy the win. Because of all the people they're going to be out there going, yeah, but Haliburton got hurt, bro. What did he come out? He was a flamethrower coming out, man. 3 out of 4 from the arc. But then he got hurt, and you're watching that, and you just know. And now this win is going to be tainted to a lot of people, and I feel bad for SGA. I do, because they still won. And they still had to play the game. And at the end of the day, they still deserve it. They were there. Best in their conference, arguably the best in the league all season long. You had the league MVP, but it will be seen as tainted. And I can't disagree with it. But, man, that's a tough one for Oklahoma City, because a lot of questions, I'm sure, are going to be geared towards, hey, Haliburton wasn't in there. When Haliburton got injured, it's tough. It's going to be tough. Regardless, they did what they were supposed to do. Your best guy's not in? All right, time to torch you. And that's exactly what they did. Better than what we saw in Game 5, when they really didn't start pulling away until about mid fourth quarter-ish, around 7-8 minutes to go. They started to, they had really made their move at that point. Basically gave up that lead to the bench. This time they flipped the switch, and once it was on, there was no turning it off. And it was certainly better than their Game 6, where they got obliterated. Regardless, Oklahoma City, they're your champs. All right, everybody, I am Drew Duncan. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. I am wherever you're listening to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play the Drew Duncan Sports Show. And, of course, I am on TikTok and YouTube, the RL, the real Drew Duncan. Everybody stay safe, take care of yourselves, and have a wonderful rest of your night and or day.